Welcome, everyone. I hope that you enjoy this song by Jorge Quintero. This is a 300 violin orchestra that you're listening to, and his album cover looks like this. In case you want to look it up. So it seems like people can interact with me here, and if someone chooses to say hi, I'll say hi back. I won't put you on the spot. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about thinking and reflecting and manifesting the change that we want to see. Again, my name is Anita. Welcome to Change in Motion. There is no change if there is no motion. So, a thought is different from a reflection. I want to get straight into the video and say I would like to take a moment to explain why I think that there's a difference between thinking and reflecting. Thinking involves considering your options, sort of like decision making, whereas reflecting means to sit and consider the option that you've already chosen and to consider everything surrounding it. So I'll say that again. Thinking is the process of considering your options, whereas reflecting, you're going to sit and consider the option you've already chosen. So here's an example. I was thinking about whether or not I should make this video in my bedroom. And I started the video in there, but the lighting wasn't very good. And the lighting isn't something that I considered. I did consider music. I considered if I should have a guest. I considered, who's available on short notice. Those were all of the things that I was reflecting on after I had chosen to do the video in that room. But I did not consider everything. Here's another example. For the past 2 years, while the pandemic was first being introduced to everyone, I'm sure that everyone had lots of thoughts about social distancing and about wearing masks. We thought about how comfortable we would be around other people and how comfortable we would be around them for long periods of time. Once we understood more about the virus, we thought about how we could adjust to a new normal. So let me start by saying that I have a new normal. Excuse me. I have a mobility restriction. I'm not able to sit or stand for long periods of time. And most of the times you'll notice that I'm doing my videos sitting down. I wanted to do this video standing, but I was helping my husband with something and it really ran into my time. And then I got tired and said, I'm going to have to do the video sitting down again. Forgive me, you guys. I washed my hair and I haven't done anything to it yet. So I just wanted to give you this information because I have some good news to share at the end of the video. So back to my mobility restriction. I felt like, okay, you told me I have a mobility restriction. I heard you. I'm moving on with life. I'm going to keep doing things the way I normally do. But that didn't work. I had trouble brushing my teeth. I had trouble getting dressed. I had trouble bending over to pick up things off the floor. Just a lot of problems because of a back injury. So after I hurt myself trying to do things the way that I normally do, I thought about maybe you should sit with the idea of being disabled. Sit with the idea of the fact that things have changed for you and you need to change since things have changed. So having said that, after I decided to sit with the idea, I decided to look at the positives and look at the negatives of what had happened to me. I was in a car accident and now my life would forever be different. And I wanted to know, how can I adjust to this? So one thing that I've done is I started working from home, and I've been working from home. Really, I've been working since 2017 from home, but before then, I was actually just doing a job that didn't require me to be on in a brick and mortar. I was selling items for It Works, and I was selling items for Avon. So I was used to my own hours anyway, but I wasn't accustomed to the changes that were taking place in my body. Now, as a result of this, it means I do everything different now. Um, and once I realized that I was expecting my life not to change, I realized I had to change my way of thinking. So we decided about 5 years ago that we wanted to move to Los Angeles. The pandemic hit, it pushed things back. And I said, okay, this happened in 2020. I'm going to see how things are in 2021, 2022. It's 2022 now. The pandemic is not going anywhere. So the decision had to be made. Am I going to stay where I am and accept that this change has happened and now I'm going to remain in New York, or am I going to move to Los Angeles like I plan to do? And I took about 3 days to really reflect on what it would mean to step out on faith and leave in the middle of a pandemic. And while I'm sure that many people would admit it's not easy to make a long distance move, but to make a long distance move in a pandemic and not be familiar with the area that you're going to or the type of people that you're going to be around, that could be a little bit scary. But I decided, instead of focusing on reasons not to make a move, I focused on reasons to make a move. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about thinking versus reflecting. If all I do is sit around and think about how difficult something is, I would never get started towards doing anything, because I would talk myself out of doing it, saying it's so difficult, it's so difficult. However, I sat down and I told my husband that I think that we should try to find us some work. Since I work from home, that should be easy for me. He has a CDL license, and I wanted him to try to see if he could find work with a company in Los Angeles where he could use his CDL license. So we began focusing on those things. I had about 12 recruiters call me within 2 weeks, and they were recruiters from New York. And then I had these jobs that were being offered to me to work in New York. And the whole time that I was living here, you guys didn't offer me these jobs. But now that I'm talking about leaving, you're trying to offer me jobs. So my husband mentioned that to his uncle, and he said, this is a trap. They're trying to trap you guys to remain where you are when you've made up your mind to move forward. I didn't even consider any of that. The only thing that I considered was that my goal was to get to Los Angeles, and I wasn't going to stop until I get there. So I began to put together a list of all of the items that we were planning to sell, and I listed those items on OfferUp. And I received a lot of feedback, but I felt that the people were not reputable because they wanted to write me checks for over the amount of what I was charging. So I began to pray, and I began to ask God to show me what I needed to do. So I put up a sign in my building and stated that I have a moving sale and that everything should be sold by April 1st. And here's a list of the items that I have for sale. And these are the times that you can come and visit to see what we have for sale. Well, I did that, you guys, and the very next day, I sold my first item. And my first day, I don't remember everything I sold right now, but I made $100 that day, and then the next day, 140. So we began to start seeing a difference because I took a moment and I reflected on what I needed to do, and then I ruled out all other options and didn't just went straight for that option. So I'm asking you to think about, are you thinking negatively towards the change that you want to make? For example, I want to lose weight, but for a long time, I've been thinking, you've been doing this for a long time. Is this ever going to happen? Are you ever going to be able to lose this weight? What if you have to stay this size? When you start thinking that way, you're already placing defeat upon yourselves. I am very sorry to stop the video for just a second, you guys, in a live video, but I do have a pizza in the oven, so this is live. I gotta go get it out. Maybe you can still hear me talking while I'm grabbing it from the oven. Woo. So my husband had reminded me, and I just about forgot. But anyway, I'm I'm getting close to the 12-minute mark, so I want to be finished by maybe 13:50. I noticed that thinking can cause procrastination because you're sitting there wondering and thinking and trying to decide. Reflecting causes action. I want to say that again. Thinking causes procrastination if you're not able to make a decision and you just keep thinking about things and thinking, and what if this, and should I do this, and what happens if I do that. But once you've made a decision and you start working towards your decision, now your thoughts are geared towards your accomplishment. And I'm trying to accomplish a long distance move, have that move be as smooth as possible. And for me, that would mean that I have sold the majority of everything, if not everything, in here. And the apartment is clean enough to leave everything that's left behind in one room for the person who would need to clean up. Then I would have enough space in my vehicle to carry a few things that I decided I wanted to bring with me. And I've already located that apartment that I manifested in my mind. I know exactly what my apartment is supposed to look like. I manifested it. So when I'm looking at apartments, if they don't fall into the category of looking the way that I desire for them to look, for example, I want a balcony. If the apartment doesn't have a balcony, keep swiping. I want also to have gray floors. You don't have any gray floors or anything similar to the design of that, keep swiping. That's not it. I want one of those huge windows in the front where I can look out the front window. So if I have company over and we want to have the blinds open for sunlight, we can do that if we don't want to have just regular daylight and we want to feel like we're outside, but we're really not. So these are all things that I have thought about in my mind and I'm manifesting them. So here's the good news. I told my husband that I had a job that I was interviewing for and I had a preliminary interview. It went well. The client heard that my preliminary interview went well and they were excited and interested in speaking to me on today. I was offered a job today, but it was not by that company. It was by another company. And I was considering the job, but the job meant that I was going to have to work in the elements, travel to work, travel in the weather conditions, travel during a pandemic, And then also I have health issues. So I considered, how much are they paying me to do this? And should I take this type of job since I'm planning to leave? Because this is a job that's based here in New York. So I went and I took a shower and I began to reflect on the job opportunity and reflect on, like, visualize myself working there, visualize how working there would help me accomplish my goal of moving to Los Angeles. I actually did something that I've never done before. I told the recruiter that I needed time to think about the decision before I could accept the position and that I would get back to him later in the day. And he agreed to wait for me to get back to him. So I wanted to have time to interview with the other company. Meanwhile, for about a week, I have been speaking into existence. I'm going to get that work from home job. That's the job I want. I like when she described the job and she described what I would be doing. I liked it. They pay weekly. I can work in my pajamas. I was just thinking about all, if it's cold outside, I don't have to go outside when it's raining. I was thinking about these things and I kept saying, they're going to, and then I said, they're going to offer me the job on the spot. And I manifested this into existence. Today, when I spoke with the lady during the interview, she was very excited to speak with me. I was excited to speak with her. And we began talking. She began giggling on the call. That was an indication to me that she felt comfortable because she kept giggling during the call. And I began to tell her reasons why I felt that their company was a good match for me. Not why I was a good match for them, but why they were a match for me. But when I told her why the company was a match for me, I spoke about good things that the company had to offer. So she surprised me during our conversation when I was still being asked questions. She just threw out there, I would like to offer you the position. And she caught me off guard. So I told her I'm secretly doing somersaults here behind the scenes because you caught me off guard with that. And she laughed and chuckled again. So but I was thinking to myself, I manifested this into existence. I spoke about this and thought about this all week. I imagined myself working all week for this company. And I said, I'm going to be working for this company this week. And it happened. Another time that I manifested something into existence was, it's going to sound silly, but I said, God is going to bless me with a MacBook. And he blessed me with 2 different MacBooks because I said that. First, I was blessed with a Mac Mini to work from home with. And then I was blessed with this MacBook Pro that I'm using to film the video. I want you to consider thinking versus reflecting. Making a decision, or I've made a decision. Now I need to think about everything that incorporates the decision that I've made. If you reflect on something, it's like putting a match underneath a piece of paper and watching it ignite and watching change take place. Whereas when you're thinking, you're just sitting there going around in circles trying to make a decision. Whereas reflecting, you made a decision and now you are just making more decisions to bring your main accomplishment into fruition. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll give me a like and that you'll consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.